Good evening, everyone. It's your girl, DJ Sweetly. For Let the Youth Live, we have an amazing guest passing through this evening. Man like Varral, Paul-Walcott, who is standing out in our communities for his work with the homeless. Very excited to get him on tonight, so hopefully he'll be with us very, very soon. Want to give a shout out to Ethan Bernard. How are you doing? Yep, so very, very excited to speak to Varral this evening. Been doing some amazing work in our communities. And just wait, hopefully he'll be with us very, very soon. Blessings to you too, Ethan. Right, I can see Varral now. All right, I'm just going to add him up. Hang on. That's it. Right, just adding him up now. Accept. Yeah, hello.
Great. Hiya.
Lovely to see you, ma'am. Thank you for joining us.
No worries at all.
I tell you, you are shining out across the UK for your exceptional work for the homeless.
Thank you.
We need you out here, I tell you. Bless you for everything that you've been doing.
Yeah.
Now, for anyone out there who doesn't know about you, you know, how you got into doing what you do, could you take us back? How did you get into, you know, helping the homeless, doing, you know, your good for the community?
So last year, well, the beginning of last year, just before the new year started, around about Christmas Eve, me and my boys, so I have a bike group, which is where C86.
I wondered. Well, I think it's locked you off. Hang on. I'll have to try and re-add him for some reason. I think it's locked him off. Hey, Farron! Bless up, man. I wondered. So he's your little bro. Oh, bless up. Right, hopefully he'll... Right, I'm going to add him back up. Hang on. I don't know how come it's locked. Hang on. Let me try and add him up again. C86. Right, I'm going to try and invite him again. So hopefully, right, hopefully that's him. Yep, hopefully. Yeah, that's you back.
I don't know what just happened there.
It was mad. Yeah, I know. Just locked you. Right, so you were out on your bikes.
Yes, we were out on our bikes, and so during lockdown, me as a group, like I've got 37, had about 37 riders.
Wow.
Used to ride along the canal, used to go on like bike parks and stuff. But during lockdown, we found things a little bit difficult in terms of the rules kept changing. So it would be like, you know, at one point it would be you can go outside with 2 people, you can exercise with 2 people, and it was just nonsense.
Remember that mad thing?
So, you know, as a group, we just kept doing stuff like that, going for rides and whatnot. But what we found was, because we had a collective of us as a group, we weren't struggling as much as other people in terms of mental health and stuff like that as well. So during the year when lockdown first happened, it was a thing where we understood that we had so much in common now. And, you know, these are people who I had never met through social media. And it was a thing where they were receptive to understanding that we had each other and we could vibe with each other. So that being said, I realized that it was all about self, and we weren't doing anything for anyone else. So I decided that we would do maybe a homeless run. So instead of going on a ride just for us, we'll go on a ride to help homeless people. So we put together a night, which was Christmas Eve, 2000 and last year, not last year, year before, sorry, 2020.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we fed 150 people in one night using cargo bikes.
Wow.
So we filled up cargo bikes with sandwiches, crisps, fruit, water, and all that stuff, and we distributed it through the streets of London. And what had happened was I had met a woman on South Bank, and she completely blew me away. So I walked up to her tent, said to her, you know, are you hungry? And she was like, yeah. And I gave her the food that I got from the cargo bike, and as she took it, her hands were shaking like this. So I was like, this is mad, because it's the first female I'd come across that night as well. And bearing in mind it's lockdown, so there's no cars on the street, there's no airplanes in the sky, everything's just shut.
Yeah.
So it's just me and my boys with the bike. So I've gone back to my bike and I've said, you know, I asked if she was cold. She said yes. So I went and got some gloves and brought them back to her. But when I gave them to her, she took them from me in her hand and she just started crying because she was so cold. And anyone with any empathy, full stop, cannot get to a place where they can stand in front of a human being and not understand that they need to do more. It's just not normal. Yeah. So I decided that, you know, I'm going to start helping and advocating a lot more. So fast forward to now, in a year, I've set up a school uniform bank.
Fabulous. That's well needed as well.
Yeah, I've set up a school uniform bank. I've set up a tab system. So I basically made homeless currency. So I put money behind restaurants. The restaurants then have the money I put behind the till. I give out these cards and vouchers while I'm on the street, and they can go into these local establishments and get a hot meal, whether it be jerk chicken and rice and peas down to a kebab or down to a pizza on my funding. And that's open to people who use food banks. So one of the things I've realized through working with people in poverty in this last year is that it's a situation where individuals who use a food bank don't have the choice to be able to cook the meals that they're given.
No. You can't sometimes even make a meal from what you get as well.
Exactly. So my thing is that I think it's really inconsiderate to have a system set up where it's not gonna have any change in the way it's processed. So if someone's having egg, beans, and bread, that's what they're having. There's no way of making it fancy. There's no way of doing it. And I don't think the term beggars can be choosers.
It's right.
Beggars can't be choosers is the right thing. So I feel like, you know, as yourself as an individual, if you're having to walk past your local restaurants every day, things that you're used to having,
and you can't,
you can't have it. You know, these are habits you're used to, but because your living allowance is different, you're now subject to eating from one space, and I don't think that's fair. So I've opened it to that. I got a chain of dry cleaners that wash homeless people's clothes for free. I set that system up as well. I put I've set up, it's nearly set up, but I've done it to 10 shops so far. So what I've done is I've put money behind shops. What borough are you from?
Southwark.
Okay, so imagine each estate in Southwark. I put £100 behind each shop.
Yeah.
Within an area, and what happens is when food banks are shut, which is usually about 7-8 o'clock, there's no means of getting anything if you have no money.
Yeah.
So what it's for is, let's say for instance we had a mum who's at home who can't get cowpool for her child, but looking at the window she knows that off license is open, she still can't attain what she needs. So I've set up a system where in my borough, I've tried it at my borough first, and I'm going to be going into Newham soon as well, where parents or guardians who are finding things difficult can go in and basically, based on my initiative and people paying it forward from customers that use that specific shop, they're able to tab in to allow people to use the service that I've put in there to get things like Calpol, milk for in the morning. How many times have we not got milk in the morning?
All
for
the
someone?
essentials, isn't it? Yeah.
Exactly. You know, so it's putting those things into practice. And I've had tons, when I say tons of support from corporates, and I'm not even a charity.
Brilliant.
Which isn't supposed to happen.
I'm so happy that you are getting support. Yeah. Everything that you're doing is absolutely needed and necessary. And I just love, like, I mean, because people are, you know, homeless and, you know, down on their luck. Like you're saying, they don't deserve, you know, to have no choice. No, you know, this is a wonderful initiative that you're rolling out. We definitely need this across the whole of all our boroughs.
Yeah.
Now, how can people get involved? Because I know a lot of people that, you know, they've been doing their bit, you know, as much as they can over the years, doing, you know, like collections and then handing them out, you know, in cold periods, you know, of weather. But it would be good, you know, to connect to you so that, you know, there's more, across all the boroughs.
Yeah, so social media has been the way forward at the moment for me. So it's, if you have my social medias like tagged in this posts and stuff, it'll be good. But I think one of the main things I want to address with this live and people that watch it after is that it's difficult because sometimes when you how can I put it so it makes total sense. Homelessness isn't a topic that we see as a problem. And the reason why I say this, it's going to sound crazy. Now, let's say, for instance, me, you, and let's pick someone from the live. I can't see all of them.
Should we go for D3? Right,
D3
woman?
Let's take D3 woman, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, me, you, and D3 woman are friends. We've been friends for ages. And all of a sudden, we hear that there's a situation in Jamaica, where I come from, that there's a massive problem in terms of food poverty, let's say. So we believe it's wrong. So we go and protest for it. We go and advocate for helping that situation, that cause that's happening in Jamaica, because as a trio, we're friends and we look after each other. Now, one of the biggest problems that we see within our social groups is that homelessness is never a topic because it's always hidden.
Yeah.
And poverty is a problem because it's always hidden. So that's why we don't have things like protests in this country for homelessness, which is quite bizarre.
Yeah, because I wondered why we don't, and why there's no, like, anything. It's just like it just stays the same. You know what I mean? And no intervention, no, you know, no anything. It's just left. I
mean, it's crazy because, you know, when you actually sit down and you think of homeless scenarios. So I'll ask you a question. If you were going to give a homeless person food, what would you give them? There's no wrong answer.
Yeah, no, but I look after a homeless guy who lives underneath where I live.
Nice.
Right, so he gets he gets bacon rolls, he gets my dinner, you know, like proper cooked dinners. And he's lucky because, like, my neighbours do it as well, and also the shop downstairs, plus people look out for him. Yeah.
So that being said, a lot of people I've asked, and, you know, there's nothing wrong with this, but I'll give you an example. So I've got 2 children. I've got one son and one daughter. When me and my wife send my kids to school, when they have their birthday parties and stuff, we always, you know, phone through to the school and say, oh, you know, what's the allergy requirements of, you know, the class and stuff. But it's quite bizarre because when we see a homeless person outside of a supermarket, we then almost buy it out of empathy, which is number one, but it's that gratification of knowing that you've done something and you go right past where the problem is.
Yeah.
So 9 times out of 10, you don't ask the individual what they want to eat.
Yeah.
And you don't actually know their allergies and stuff. So whether they're lactose intolerant, gluten-free, religious things where it's halal or something, we don't know. So I mean, the broader answer to your question is in terms of how do people get involved. I think it's a thing where I want you guys to push homelessness as a topic to your social groups. I want people to start having more conversations about homeless people, because it's deemed more now to be a norm. You know, you see a homeless person on the street, you walk past them.
That's part of London life. It's the way it's put.
Exactly. And to be honest with you, I'm
be.
sure there must be a tour guide somewhere along the line that stupidly has put a homeless person as in something to see in London. That you know, that is a thing, which is really scary. You know, we still live in a day and age where a homeless person could be arrested for being homeless, because you know being homeless is illegal.
Oh yeah. So how does that work?
So there's a thing.
So
there's a thing called a grave. What's it called?
Is it the
Vagrancy Act. That's
it.
So that basically makes anyone who's homeless without any tender from the country as in currency, they can easily be arrested for that. Hence why having a tent in a public domain is not allowed. You're not allowed to beg. You're supposed to have ID. Yeah. Hence why I think that's why the spikes, remember we used to have the spikes outside the supermarkets to stop homeless people from laying down?
Yeah.
That was the cause for it.
Oh my God.
And then we had the benches with the bars on them to stop them from laying down as well.
Oh my God.
So,
but what are they meant to do? You know what I mean? But the fact, I'm so happy that you are doing what you're doing. What I was in relation to, you know, like people getting on board, what kind of I'm envisioning is what you're doing there happens exactly the same here.
I'd love that happens
there, you know, like, so exactly what you're doing, because it is bang on, it's spot on, and it gives people, you know, homeless people and, you know, people in poverty, it gives them quality of life even though they've not got a home, right? So it's giving them that part of that. Now, as for tackling the prevention, you know, like going forward, I've always said law needs changing.
Yeah, of course, 100%. That it does need changing, but when you start to see the initiatives of what the government put forward as things to help homeless people, now because I'm so ingrained in it and I do it on a day-to-day basis, like the last initiative I saw the government pull out for homeless people was they spent 1.3 million on buying vapes for homeless people. Vapes as in cigarette vapes.
No, I know.
Yeah, that's what they got them.
Yeah.
Most people, D3 woman said, most people use homeless people as alcoholics and drug abusers, is why I think most people don't take them on board, but not all of them are like that. Just my opinion. So just quickly to answer you, I think that's totally true. And I think it's true because humans are very susceptible to understanding what trauma is. And I'll give you an example. If you see a homeless person on the street and you paint that picture of them being a drug or an alcoholic abuser, it cuts your empathy door down to ever helping them. So you paint that picture every single time because you don't want to have to be subject to feeling sorry for someone. Now, if you did stop for that individual and you did communicate with them, 9 times out of 10, that will not be the story. So I'll give you a scenario now that will make hopefully a few viewers think a little bit different. So we're going to have an uprise in homelessness, God forbid, but it's going to happen. So when the government put in 80% of your furlough in, if you mix that with the Section 21s that were stopped from, as in landlords being able to evict you, there's going to be a whole uprise of people that are now going to have to become homeless just because this government law that was put in place was not going to work because they haven't worked out what the backlash is.
Yeah.
And I mean,
that's scary to think how bad it is already.
Yeah. You know, it's a nut situation. So I think you're totally right. And it's a situation where, you know, homeless people are deemed to be drug abusers and alcoholics. But I'll give you a scenario. Not a scenario, I'll give you an example. In 2021, there were 75,000 drink driving offences during lockdown. Okay? Now, that being said, that's 75,000 people on different occasions that can afford to drive a car, afford to have petrol in it, afford road tax, afford MOT, and afford to actually live in a house as well. Not only are they doing these things that are wrong, which is a drink driving offence, but you're potentially killing or endangering someone because you're driving recklessly. Yeah. But then on a comparison of having 170,000 people who are living rough on the streets of London yearly, who's painting the worst picture? Because these people are potentially killing people. The only problem is homeless people don't have a way to hide them being drunk. And not all of them are drunk because they can't afford it. No. So this narrative that we're played on all homeless people being drug abusers and alcoholics, it's all nonsense. And I think that's one of the things we need to sit down and actually refocus and think about it. Because I'll give you an example. When I used to sit down and watch TV with my granddad when I was younger, he always used to watch like Clint Eastwood and cricket and stuff. And one of the things that keep coming back to me as I was growing up was that every time Clint Eastwood would do something, he would have a flask of whiskey. And that flask of whiskey was to keep them warm. Okay? Yeah. So let's not be stupid here. You know, let's not be stupid here. Yeah. Like, if a homeless person's drinking and it's below 0 outside, hats off to them. Yeah. How else it's going to keep some warmth in them, yeah. You know? There are NHS workers who are homeless, going into work daily and showering in hospitals. Bro, that is 100% true. So one thing I have discovered, and I didn't know this, there are many different types of homelessness. You know, the narrative of homelessness is way out of context. It's actually broader than we know. So there are individuals that sleep on the street who are getting up to go to work, getting up to go to building sites, and they're changing in stations because they're in uniform, and then they're going back to sleep. Imagine doing a 12-hour shift on a building site to then have to go and sleep on the street. Exactly, like the day's like shift isn't long, you know what I mean, and hard enough to have to do that on top. I'm sure I saw a clip on I think it might have been on your Instagram, and it was about that, and it showed a guy, and he was going to like work. Yeah. There's there's temporary accommodation where, I mean, I saw a video of a woman, and I've done my research, and it's actually a thing. So some local authorities are putting you in accommodation where you're not allowed visitors. One woman's been in accommodation for 5 years. She's never had a family visit her once. Oh my God. That doesn't make any sense at all, does it? No, it doesn't. We've got another question as well. Okay. Peace and love movement. Shout out to you. They're saying need to stop those out of date stereotypes. 100%. Which is true. Yeah. Definitely. But what I've been thinking about is, like, landlords need to be offered incentives to keep people in their homes. Okay, so this is the thing. So it's difficult for a landlord, and it's going to sound crazy for me to say this, and the reason why I say it is because in England, it's almost like if you don't own a business, the second best way of making money is to have a home. So it's like once you blood, sweat and tears to get that house and you become a landlord, that's like your own little baby of making yourself a profit. But what happens with getting to that struggle sometimes is you disengage yourself from the loving care inside of yourself because you've had to hustle so much to get what you've got. Now, because there are no laws in place to stop landlords overcharging, and because the local authorities keep messing up when it comes to making payments,
Yeah.
social housing and, you know, universal credit and stuff like that isn't making it appealing for landlords because they always mess their stuff up. So
Yeah,
it's
it's always
almost
on a long, isn't it? Yeah.
a reshuffling how the housing's done. Even if it was like, you know, Haringey Council got rid of Haringey Council properties and made it just something that stands alone as its own entity to give it a bit more of sustainability, that would be much better than it being under the headship of Haringey, because it doesn't work. Because you've got tons of people in your housing department that will never get housed by a landlord because they don't trust how you look after them. You know, and I don't think that, because it's a double-edged sword, because on one breath I am saying, yeah, you know, there are evictions going on, but these are people that are going to lose their livelihood. You know, people who are landlords and stuff as well. Our government are sharks and definitely do not lead by example. Yeah, Aisha, correct on that one.
Yeah, definitely.
And then, but it's just a really bizarre and weird situation on, you know, how our systems just become very normal, you know, and it
It's
scares me.
set up for everything that is happening, and the way that it is. Our system has been designed for this result, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So any changes that we want to make, they need to be made via the law into the system. So we change the system. Now, homelessness, poverty, we need the law changed. Same with the, you know, the death of all our young people. It's an emergency what's going on.
Yeah, it is. But do you know, I think what scares me more than anything else as well is that the younger generation don't actually comprehend and understand what's going on. So I think what it is now is because, I mean, when I was growing up, there wasn't loads of ways of making money on the street, or, you know, you either got a job.
It's different now.
You either got a job or you stayed at home and you kind of just stayed at home with your mum. Now it's a situation where kids as little as 14 are making money, you know, doing what they need to do to make money on the street and stuff. And it's one of those situations where I've noticed that in terms of my engagement from my followers, it's more the older generation that are coming through and saying this needs to stop.
It's like with me,
and
what
that narrative of the younger lot are not coming through because it's not taught. So, you know, I don't know if you saw Sovereign Comics that was in here earlier.
Yes. See them come up.
So big them up. They do comics through learning. So what they do is they go out and they source characters that are in, you know, the real world, and they turn them into superheroes and teach lessons through their comic.
Oh, amazing! Oh,
so they're on point. So you
big
know,
up to them.
Yeah, 100%.
Sovereign Comics, did you say?
Yeah, Sovereign Comics. Big up to them, man. So
bless up, man.
It's one of them things where, you know, we really need to. It's very important as us as parents that we do engage these problems onto our children. You know, I don't believe that a child should be hidden into this cocoon of life's perfect. You know, when they hit the age of like 10, 11,
definitely not.
Show them
that's not helpful.
Show them what a red net looks like. Show them that the money that we have in the account is not frivolous and we can do anything with it. Show them what happens when their shoes are broken. You know, and I feel like because we're disengaging from the things that we're supposed to be doing from them. Hence, you know, topics like homelessness. Whoever talks about homeless people at home, doesn't happen.
Yeah, we do though.
No, I get what you mean because of the situation
we've
you've got as well.
yeah, because I literally the scheme we've got over here, right? It's an app that I found out about a little while ago, called Rough Sleepers.
Yeah, I know it.
And yeah, you report them,
Yeah.
and then they come round and they'll, you know, speak to them, make them various appointments for
What's
different
their
things.
response time?
Put it this way, it's not so much the first visit, it's what comes after that, because that tends to be quite quick.
Yeah.
Within maybe that night, the next night. With my guy downstairs, obviously, yeah, this has been going on for a long while, and we did actually get him somewhere. And I thought, brilliant, but no, that didn't work out. And then he was away for maybe a month, possibly max, and then he was back. So I'm still on the case now, and I keep, you know, onto them. They've been and visited him and brought him a phone, so that he could answer. And I think he had problems with that because the phone wasn't working. And but yeah, he's still out there.
But I mean, I don't know. It's a really tough situation to be in because nightly when I go out to help people and I have to come home and leave them, it really does get to you in terms of, you know, worrying about them,
it's heartbreaking.
knowing if they're going to be at home. Yeah. But you know, I don't know where this is going in terms of a movement. I just want to make sure that people are taking the message and actually empowering other people with that knowledge of not looking at a homeless person in a negative way, because I can tell you from everything I do, I haven't met one homeless person take advantage of me. The other day, I took a homeless person into Primark because I walked past him and he had like a massive hole in his shoes. Oh. And I was rushing. I had things to do, went with the wife to Specsavers to get our eyes tested and stuff. And I was like, oh, do you know what? I've got to help. And my wife's like, okay, cool. You go there, I'll go somewhere else. So, because she had some stuff to do as well to kill time. So I went over and I said to him, are you hungry? He's like, no, I'm not hungry. I've got food in my rucksack. Because they're so honest.
Yeah. Yes, and the guy is here, Stephen, yeah.
And I took him inside in Primark and I said to him, aren't your feet cold? And he's like, yeah. And I said, come with me. And we went in there, let him pick his shoes, bought him a new jacket, some socks.
Yeah.
And to me, I remember going up to Brighton once for a family holiday. And because my kids are so used to me helping homeless people now, as soon as they see them, they'll look at me like, Dad, what are you going to do? Which is a nice feeling because my kids are open to understanding homeless people.
Yeah, see, my daughter's like that. One is more so than the other.
Yeah.
But I can see for myself, like, the difference in both of how I brought both of them up.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
My eldest was very, like, spoiled and, whereas my younger one has seen more, real life and what it's really like, not having a lot of money and, various other things. But so the way she empathizes, the younger one, and just,
it's different,
I can
isn't
see
it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I remember walking past this tent on the pier and my daughter Phoenix, she was like, Dad, there's someone that needs help across the road. And we were just on the way to dinner that evening because we just got down there. And I said, all right, cool, let's go over and see what's going on. So I went up to the tent and this guy came out and I was like, how you doing, mate? You're right. I made him know. I said, oh, my daughter just saw that you might need help. And he looked at her and he said, oh, bless you, darling. Thank you for seeing me.
Oh.
And he smiled and I said, do you need some help, mate? And he's like, I don't need any help, but maybe my brother does. And then his brother came out of this small tent with him and was like, oh, yeah, what's going on, mate? So I said, do you need some help? He's like, oh, if you could, I need some trainers, man. Like, and he showed me his trainers. His trainers were mental. Like, it was so bad.
Yeah.
So there's a thing called trench feet. So when a homeless person's out for too long, their feet then become infected and they start to swell.
Oh.
Which means that when their feet swell, they can be up to 2 to 3 sizes up from what they actually are.
Yeah, to what they normally are. Yeah.
Because that's what happens when your feet get wet too much.
God.
So I said, you know, the shops weren't open at night. So I said to him, you know, I'll come back tomorrow. And he looked at me like, yeah, you come back tomorrow, like they all say. And I remember going back and I said, mate, you there? And he zipped up and goes, what? You come back for me? Yeah. And I said to him, yeah. And we walked into Sports Direct and I said, pick the trainers you want. And you know, he cried before he even picked them. He said, in 10 years since he's been homeless, he's never been able to pick a pair of trainers before.
Oh, man.
And I just thought to myself, how are people in this position where they can't even pick trainers? And then we're in the position we can pick trainers, but we're so frivolous with it.
Yeah, exactly. And people complain so much, don't they? You know, like, but it puts it into perspective. You know what I mean? This, when you know, see people who, you know, aren't able to eat, clothe themselves, but bless you.
That's
like, seriously.
See what Winston Williams just said. Unfortunately, when someone sees a homeless person, they stay clear of that person because of lack of education. Exactly. And then that's what happens in the world wars. How could this happen now?
Yeah, true.
It's disgusting, man.
It is. And I am so grateful and thankful to you. Like I said, bringing the awareness, you know, feeding people out there.
Yeah.
But like I say, I keep envisioning exactly what you're doing everywhere, and we need that. You know, like with the restaurants, you know, in the local each area.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'd love, you know, I keep seeing it. I can see it clear as day, you know, that it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And we need it. And I mean, on top of that, what you're doing, so you're keeping people alive. You are giving them some kind of quality of a life instead of none. But we have to work out how we're going to get people homes, how the law is going to change. And what I've discovered, like, we can change the law. Right? I know this for a fact. You know, people coming together. And I'm wondering as well, because I've been talking quite a lot lately to do with demanding a emergency cabinet meeting for the death of all our young people. From various, you know, knife crime, gun crime, serious violence, child killers, you know. And in one of these meetings, they can change the law there and then. And it can be in a couple of days.
Can I be honest with you about something? And I think it's going to sound crazy, but I do believe that this is a fact. I don't think that the government would ever erase homelessness. And the reason...
Sorry, someone was ringing me.
That's right. I don't believe the government will ever get rid of homelessness. And the reason why I say it is I feel like homeless people can't vote. Homeless people cannot do anything in terms of help for a government structure. Okay. Now, that being said, it's a situation where there's countless, for some bizarre reason, every time someone wants to get into power or wants to get a better name for themselves, if they've had like a shambles within the public eye, i.e. Boris has a party or something, then tomorrow homelessness is a go-to. Oh, I'm going to get rid of 20,000 homeless people on the street, because you use it as a bargaining chip to get empathy back with your people.
They do all that with the knife crime as well. They do, you know, it's all these things that in the long run are not actually solving anything. But what I'm talking about is us, or literally, we have to all contact our MPs, but it takes us doing that and demanding that we have an emergency COBRA meeting.
Yeah, 100.
And we can change the law.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, because this can't happen. Like, it's got to the point now. We've just started another year, but we have tons And the thing, what's scaring me is that these people are actually getting younger.
Yeah.
You know,
There's so many young
I met a
people
mum.
sofa surfing.
I met a mum that was pregnant with a baby. Okay, she was sleeping, so she was up and down on the carriages. She stayed in the overhead carriages, up and down, and then she was sleeping in. So you know when you go, on undergrounds, you know when they go underneath they've got like these arches that go underneath the tunnel. So she was sleeping in arches.
Oh my God.
Okay, but so another thing that people don't know, and I'm going to make this so everyone understands this, is that back in the day, you would be able to be pregnant, go into your housing association and show them you're pregnant, and then you would be means tested and get your category in terms of how many points you've got.
Yeah.
That law's gone now. So what happens now
God.
is your baby physically has to be in your arms to count as an individual that's dependent on you. It's not dependent from the womb now. It's dependent as a physical baby. So you could be someone who's potentially homeless for 9 months until baby's gone full term. You'd then be in a situation where you can now go to the council and get your points up because you now have a physical dependent. If you don't have a physical dependent and your person who's reviewing your case when you go to the council doesn't see a physical baby, whether it be a FaceTime interview or whatever, it's not happening.
Oh my God. I mean, for over the years from talking to, a lot of homeless people, I've always understood that, the males, any males they have absolutely no chance of getting anything. And it has always been, as a female, being pregnant. But even if that's even, I'm just horrified of that poor mum, like in the train. That's absolutely disgusting that she's.
I mean, I've met people who have been in the army and have come out. So the worst story I've ever had was I had to go to White City for an appointment. So I was early, and this was around about Easter. So I saw a homeless gentleman just across the road. So I approached him and said to him, would you like anything? And he's like, oh yeah, mate. Could you get us a cup of tea? So I went into Tesco's. They had a Costa coffee machine. So I ordered him his coffee and whatnot. So we walked around the store, told him to get a basket, let him pick up what he needed to pick up. So as we got out, I said to him, mate, what happened to you? He's like, look, I didn't mean to be homeless. I don't want to be homeless, but I'll tell you exactly what happened to me. So he used to live in a place called Loughton, and his mum lived in London. He moved out of his flat, which he had with their local authority, and he came to London to live with his mum because his mum was sick. Within 3 months of living with her, she passed away. But because he wasn't on her tenancy for long enough,
oh shit,
he lost his house. So he lost his house because he wasn't paying rent in Loughton. He lost his house because he was with his mum because she passed away, and they wouldn't assess him because he didn't belong to either borough.
Oh my God.
So he then became homeless. He then so in your hips you've got these valves that open and close. I can't remember what they're called. And because he wears a backpack that's heavy so much, that's really heavy, it closed the valves in his hips. So all his legs were completely swollen.
Oh my God.
And the thing is that when you actually stop and you listen to a homeless person's story, you would then understand that the narrative of a homeless person with drug addiction and stuff like that, it's complete nonsense. And
they're a real person. He's had a real life in a story,
But I'll give you a question. What's the difference between a CEO who's earning £6 million a year, a yacht, lines of cocaine, and girls and stuff, with a drug addiction and an alcohol addiction? So if you put that photo next to a homeless person, the homeless person has a drug addiction and alcohol. What's the word? When you look at the two of them, which one do we see as a narrative that we accept?
well, going on what's promoted in music,
Mhm.
radio,
Mhm.
films,
Mhm.
in our culture,
Mhm.
it will be to the left,
Right.
to the
This to the CEO, yeah.
it really is. It's like, and it's
Right.
about changing, like you're
Mhm.
saying, that narrative and
Mhm.
people actually,
Mhm.
yeah,
Mhm.
understanding
Mhm.
that this person, they're
Yeah.
human.
Yeah.
And most times it's not their fault why they're in
Yeah.
this position.
Exactly. And I had an argument with a security guard who said there was a homeless. I got a call to tell me there was a homeless guy in Hornsey. Drove down to Hornsey, but as I drove past him, he looked like really like he was just couched over. Like he just
Yeah,
didn't look like he was moving.
yeah.
So I've got out of my car, walked across the road, come outside Tesco's, and I've started trying to talk to him, and he's not responding. But his dogs looked up at me. So obviously the dog's obviously seen that I'm trying to communicate with his owner.
Yeah.
So the dog starts licking the gentleman's face, but the guy is not moving.
Oh.
So I said to the security guard, out of curiosity, how long has this homeless person been standing there? He's like, he's been there for like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
I said, what? You need to call an ambulance. He said, I'm
Oh
not
my
calling
God.
the ambulance. I'm not calling the ambulance. This guy is trouble. I'm not calling them.
Oh
So I
my
said,
God.
all right, cool, whatever. So I walked in past him and I've shouted out in Tesco's, can someone call an ambulance for this gentleman outside?
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, the guy wasn't moving. So then, as obviously the commotion now, I mean, there's people walking past this guy continuously, not doing anything. People at the cash machine.
Just
So
getting
as
on,
I'm
aren't they?
making a scene now, people are coming out of the supermarket who have obviously seen him going on the way in, have now made a fuss. Like, oh my God, what's wrong with him? And, trying to buy him water. So we got him revived and stuff. And the security guard came out to me and he was like, my brother, why are you telling everyone that I've been watching him for an hour and a half? This guy is not a good guy. He's always stealing in my shop. So I said to him,
He's stealing for food.
no, but watch this. So I said to him, and I'm not going to tell you what religion he's from because it's got nothing to do with the religion. It's just the way his thought process was.
Hmm.
So I said to him, brother, I understand that you don't agree with his alcohol consumption and the fact that he's drunk, okay? But you need to understand that as your nieces and nephews and younger generation come through your family, you're gonna have the ones and twos that don't go down the right path.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yeah.
And that being said, you've got to hope and pray that someone like myself comes along across your family member and cares about them enough for them
Mm-hmm.
to get revived and back into a good state so they can stay alive. As I was leaving, it was quite funny not funny to watch, it was nice to watch. The actual security guard go up to the homeless person and actually go down, crouch down next to him and have a conversation with him. And that's
Yeah.
something he was not willing to do from the beginning.
Yeah.
And this is what I mean about, the movement that I'm trying to push is that
Mm-hmm. It's getting more of that to
it's
happen.
it,
Yeah.
it's about getting that to happen. It's not, for me, it's not about how many times I go out. I couldn't tell you. Some people can tell you tons of stuff that they've done and tons of evidence of I've helped 1,000 homeless people and stuff. I don't have my stats because it's not about stats for me. I
Mm-hmm.
don't have any numbers for what I do. But what I do know is that if you're someone who's going through social media and saying that you help homeless people and whatnot, you've got to be using the followers that you have to change mindset. Because if you don't
Mm-hmm.
change mindset, you are not going to have a movement.
Yeah.
And it makes no sense me having a couple thousand followers for me then to say, look at me. I don't
Yeah.
want a look at
And
me
then all
profile.
they're doing is watching you, but we
I don't
want,
I don't
yeah,
want to be a TV
people to
channel.
start getting
Exactly.
involved.
I
Yeah.
don't want to be a TV. I don't want to be something. Oh, let's tune into Varral. That's not what it's about. It's
No,
about a call to
exactly.
action and
Mm-hmm.
about understanding that there are people in poverty out there. There are people around you,
So many.
and this is one thing I will say to people that are watching this and people that are going to watch this video. If me and you, and let's take DJ Magic, which is my cousin.
Oh, bless her.
And let's take all of us sitting around the table, okay? And let's take myself. So I'm sitting around the table. We're all gone for Sunday dinner around my mum's house, and I've turned around and said, "Oh, do you know what? Yeah, these people on benefits are really doing my head in. They need to go and get a job. They need to do this. They need to do that." Funny enough, DJ Magic has an example. Let's say I've been growing up with him as a kid. I love him to bits. I'll do anything for him. But because of the tone and the manner I'm talking in terms of people on benefits and me not liking them, I've put such a harsh tone in it because he could be struggling at home. Because of the way I've spoken around that dining table, he will never come to me for help.
Yeah.
Okay. And we really need to be mindful about the way we talk in front of people that we say we care about, because sometimes the topics that you talk on are things that people are struggling with at home. Okay. Yeah. And I think, especially now where we've gone through lockdown, we understand that things can get hard just like that. We need to change, you're right, French, that narrative. We need to change the way we conduct ourselves. We need to be more open. When I was younger, I'm only 35. When I was younger, I remember that every birthday I had around my area, it was all the kids from my estate in my back garden. That doesn't happen anymore. Okay.
It's true.
I remember that we used to knock my neighbor's house, or our neighbors used to knock our house, save you from going to the shop to get ketchup. That doesn't happen anymore. Okay.
It's a whole new world.
Yeah, we're in this rat race of, every household has this drawer, cupboard, loft full of stuff we don't need. Okay. Because we're in this rat race of consumption. But when it comes to getting rid of that consumption and giving it to people that need it, we harbor it. We harbor it, we don't give. And, there's so many households who don't have, they have odd socks in their drawers. Means you've got loads of socks. Just give some away. This consumption state that we're in, of this rat race of the new iPhone, the new this, the new that. It's really difficult because we're not trained how to look after one another. And mental health comes with that as well.
Yeah, definitely. And very, very important. Looking 100%. Out for others.
100%. And it scares me because there's no other way to engage with it. You'd turn around, you'd think to yourself that a charity like Oxfam, who has countless number ones, who has countless support from celebrities and stuff, who has loads of material and stuff that are sold in Sainsbury's and red noses and water bottles and stuff, you'd think they'd be in a position now where they are promoting that they've got clean water. They've now branded their own Evian bottle. They're selling it across the nations and stuff. We don't need to crowdfund anymore.
Why haven't they?
Exactly. So it really is a situation where, when you start to see charities like that, and what scares me is something like Oxfam. Oxfam, it's a generational curse. Every year, there's a new set of children who are starving, who have flies all over them because of infection and stuff. And when I was younger, I was watching the children of today in the adverts. They're grandparents.
Yeah.
And that's the scary thing. It's as I've grown older, it's generationally come down to, back then, their great-grandchildren, to now seeing their grandchildren on the TV. And it's like, I don't want to be in 2022 looking at a set of children in an Oxfam advert, knowing that in 20 years, I'm going to see their children in the same position if they haven't passed away from malnutrition. And
exactly. We don't want to see that in the future. Do you know what I mean? When something could be being done. And
I'm not being funny. It shows that we've got used to it, because why the hell don't we have Ofcom complaints about it?
Yeah. Why isn't there? Do you know what? I watched something on YouTube, I think it was last week or the week before, and it was the street children in Africa. Right? And I'm watching this and I'm thinking, how is this all going on now in this age, like big 2022, right? And these kids, they're literally zombies, right? Walking about taking jet fuel is the drug that they are having on vapes.
Yeah.
They can't hardly move. They can't, but they've got mums on glue, right? And the mum's saying, this gets me through. I have no home. I can't, you know, she hasn't had anywhere to live, the mum, you know, in 12 years. And it's just, it's horrifying what's allowed to just go on. And it takes people like yourself and others, you know, like, at what point do people get involved in it? And this is what, you know, I say this a lot, you know, on when I do these lives with the knife crime, gun crime, you know, at what point is enough is enough?
I mean, I don't know, because obviously, you know, I even get, you know, I even get asked the question of, you know, I mean, one of the worst questions I ever got asked with doing what I do is, you know, why someone messaged me, someone had the audacity to message me and say to me, you know, why are you giving homeless people brand new stuff? Because I don't understand why he said it, but then I messaged him back and I said to him, so I'm someone that likes to teach people. I try not to get too angry because it doesn't help the situation.
Yeah.
So I remember him messaging me and saying to me, oh, you know, why do you give homeless people brand new stuff? They're just going to sell it and, you know, use it for drugs and stuff. So I said to him, are you finished? And he said to me, yes. I said, all right, cool. Do you own a house? And he's like, yeah, what's that got to do with anything? I said, well, have you ever heard of, you know, buy it now, pay later? You know, 0% interest for 12 months and you can come back to it and pay it after the 12 months. He's like, yeah, what's your point? I said, so in your household, have you got anything in your household that is 0% interest, as in you're paying for it over a period of time? He's like, yeah, but what's your point? I said, well, I'll give you an example. The World Cup's coming. You've gone into Argos and you have filled out the application to get a TV to go home with. You go home with a massive 65-inch TV. You got your pint with you. You got a little sausage roll ready to watch the England match. You don't have to worry about that TV for 12 months. Is it Argos's need and Argos's responsibility to give you that handout of that TV that you can't afford at that given time? And he said, mate, that is actually mental. I said, you're asking for a handout when you go to Argos to get that TV without that responsibility of having to pay it because you can't afford it at that given time. But the same person outside asking for a sandwich, you won't give them that handout, which is costing you, what, maybe £3 monthly. And it's quite weird because someone will go into Argos or someone will go into a car showroom and try to get something like a Vauxhall Corsa or something, or a Polo or something. If that manufacturer tells you no, you're catching a bus. Okay, and we need to remember that things and possessions that we have, even down to a phone, it's
that we're paying off for.
You're paying off for, and you know, a homeless person, you're their go-to to ask for help.
They can't get the contracts. They can't get like things that we just take, like people take for granted, don't they?
No, 100%. Someone just said, I'm just trying to keep an eye so I don't miss anyone. Bro, I heard when you pay rent, the landlord pays their mortgages. Yeah, that's totally true. So what he means by that is when landlords own properties, they have a mortgage within that property. Okay, and what happens is, let's say for instance they've got a buy-to-let mortgage, so they will get an increment of whatever that payment monthly would be, and they'll be able to save it. So they pay their mortgage, so you're paying their mortgage for them, and they've got like £500-600 excess on top, which is theirs. So yeah, you're 100% right with that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just a difficult situation to be in, where we feel like we can go into establishments any given day of the week and expect to get these goods coming out, but then the homeless person who doesn't have a leg to stand on can't. It's just like a parent's fridge freezer breaking down. All the stuff's gonna go to waste, and they pop into Curry's and try to get a finance on a fridge freezer, brand new, delivered, 0% interest.
Yeah, and you're not paying up front.
You're not paying up front. That's your handout. That's your help. You know.
And it is about making people aware of that. Like, it's so true. So, and how you've broken it down to that guy as well, so that he's had to, he can see. Hang on. So I'm doing the same. Like,
well,
and having that.
He then gave me a donation to my Just Giving page to help, which is quite funny.
Brilliant.
Which is cool, because now and then he does message me. He's like, "Oh, look, this is what I've done." Because it's so for me, it's more an educational side of thing of having to, whoever does follow me, I want you to kind of understand the message that's coming across and start teaching people that are around you, so it then can be something that we pull in as an education. A lot more does need to be done.
Now, your GoFundMe, is that for the van?
Oh, so you've done your research as well. All right. So, do you know about the van?
Is it going to be a mobile food bank?
Yeah, so I'm making a mobile food bank because...
needed. That is so needed.
Yeah. So one of the reasons is I used to work in a special needs school. Now, the problem is with the food bank situation is that sorry, I've used that word so many times. A child who has, let's say, autism as one example, would not be able to stand in a line at a food bank for 4 hours.
No way.
It's not possible. So if they have a crisis and they have a meltdown, it's game over. You're gonna have to go home.
Yeah.
If you then have a child who has epilepsy and has to have a chair that's pressure mattress because they can't walk, you then have another situation where you don't have the transportation to go to a food bank plus bring those bags home with you plus the wheelchair. Doesn't work. No. So that being said, 9 times out of 10, when you have a family with one child that has a learning difficulty, sometimes the money and resources within a household then go into the child with the disability. Therefore, the children who don't have disability sometimes have to have less, which is totally understandable. I get it, because your benefits and stuff that come through are not met by what your needs are as a household.
No, you can't live.
So that being said, the people who really need to benefit from the food banks and stuff that are in place can't attend them. So this food bank pantry that I'm making with the van is basically to pull up at these households, to give them produce and give them a chance to have it disclosed. You don't want to then have to travel or be scared that you don't have someone looking after your child while you come out. So I'd rather to come to you to
that
just make you
it's such a brilliant idea. Love it.
Thank you. So, that's what that's for. And, it's also for, the older generation who can't get out of the house. And because I'm doing all of this by bike at the moment, it's just a bit crazy. I've got a car.
Well done, though.
Yeah, I've got a car.
Keeps you fit, man.
Yeah. But I've got a car. It's doing well, but it's our family car, and I can't keep, drumming it into what I'm doing. No. But it's a situation where we really do need to, come together. Come together, do things as a collective, and we've realized during lockdown, and I hope people don't forget this, is that we understand what empathy looks like. Okay, a lot of people have turned their empathy off now because they've gone back to work, everything's kind of gone back to normal. But you need to remember that just like that, there can be
Things can
incentives of
change.
80% of your salary, 20% of it's gone. Something you
Mm-hmm.
never thought would have happened.
Yeah.
And, you know, just be susceptible to that problem that could occur and have that strategy in place where you're pulling enough empathy and enough things in place to do better. You know, everyone has a chance to do. You know, it could be something as small as you've gone to the £1 shop, you bought yourself a pair of gloves for £1, but it comes as a 2-pack, and you're giving your second pack, you're giving your second pair to a homeless person.
Yeah.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
so, you know, for everyone who is listening, I really do appreciate it. You know, because it is a topic that isn't spoken about, and sometimes it's deemed to not be important because it isn't spoken about ever.
Mm-hmm. And it's definitely, we need to be speaking more and more. And like I said, just very thankful that you're out here doing what you're doing. What about I did see something that you're doing like a trainer campaign as well at
Yeah.
the minute.
You've really done your research. So, I'm doing a thing called a sneaker drive. So, what it is the younger generation, that I said before, don't take homelessness seriously. So, what I've decided to do, I've decided to make an Instagram challenge through social media. And what will happen is, like my brother did for me, was basically you make a video, you present
Yeah,
who
I
you
wanted to
are.
check with you.
Yeah,
Faz is your brother.
that's my older brother. Yeah.
Because you know what? From the first time I saw you, I kept thinking he looks familiar, you know.
Yeah, yeah, that's my older brother. So
Oh, bless up, man. So we've got two heroes, yeah, in
yeah.
the fam.
So
Oh.
so what I've done is I've basically made a so Sarah, sorry. I work everywhere. So if I've got a problem, if there's a problem in any borough, I'm
Will
happy
you
to
come
come
to
up.
Southwark then?
Yeah, I'll come to Southwark.
Ah, wicked, man.
I'll do a stint up Suffolk. I bring the wife, we'll stay up in the hotel stuff.
Oh,
We'll do
that'd be
some work up
sick,
there.
man.
It'll be good.
Because we need it here as well.
Yeah,
Like,
I'll come Southwark.
it's a problem. It's everywhere. Yeah, it's not isolated to certain areas. It is everywhere. And like you're saying, the way it's so everywhere that
Mm,
it's become like a normalized, but we
mm,
can't allow it to be like that.
yeah. So yeah, I'll definitely come Southwark. That's not a problem at all. But
Wicked.
like I so yeah, the trainer drive is basically going to be a thing where, like what Farron did for me today, where he's, you know, he showed what he was what he was donating, and then what he's going to do in the end of the video will be like, you know, I challenge yourself to donate a
Oh,
pair.
yeah,
So when you see that,
yeah.
you'll be like, oh, Farron, did you really put me on the spot? And then you'll donate a pair of trainers, and then you'll
It's
challenge
And
someone
the
to
thing
go
is,
on.
there's people out there got lots of
Yeah,
trainers, haven't they?
100%.
I think that's fantastic. And at the same time, I think more awareness again, like you were saying, for the young people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The fact that it's trainers and they're bringing attention to it.
Yeah.
Absolutely love that. And I'm also envisioning all these initiatives, they're something that could happen everywhere, in every borough, across London, across, you know what I mean, across the whole of the UK.
100%. So I mean, I've had councillors following me through my social medias now, asking me to come and start the initiatives in their boroughs, which is quite funny because I have no legal,
Yeah, I'm
but I have,
happy.
you know what's crazy? Within this whole thing, I have no legal structure whatsoever. It's just literally one man band and just causing as much havoc as possible. Like
Mhm.
it's one of them things where I go under this thought process when I come to doing these things. Depending on the country you live in, will determine how complicated you think things are. Okay.
Mhm.
So that being said, if you live in England, because there's so much red tape with something as small as having a barbecue in a park, it becomes something that is so ingrained that it's so difficult you don't ever do it.
Mhm.
Moses didn't get a flipping authority from the police office to go and get his people, or Noah didn't get safeguarding to go and put animals on a flipping ark.
No, he just went
You
and
just
did it.
do it. That is it.
That's what I think. You have to do that,
you've
though,
got a
because if
problem,
you wait,
you just need to do it. And I think it's a situation where, as human beings, we have got to stop thinking that things are so difficult, because really and truly, we're our own enemy, because we hold ourselves back based on what we allow other people to say. If someone said to me, you will not succeed with what you're doing, you will not help anyone with what you're doing, you will not make a school uniform bank, you will not get £4,500 pounds worth of Under Armour gear from Under Armour, you will not get Coca-Cola sponsoring you, you will not get Arsenal or Tottenham Hotspurs giving you match day tops to raffle to make money because you're not a charity, you will not get phones from Tesco's, you will not get 300 plus Easter eggs to give out to your kids in your community from Morrison's, because you're not a charity, because you don't have a number. I would have believed them. But when you start to see things happening for yourself, and you start to see that you can make a change and you can do things without legal structure, I'm not going to sell myself out to do it now, because it doesn't make any sense. Because we know that the way the big corporate charities have messed up the charity structure for us grassroots ones that want to do the change, it's put such a bad stigma on what charity stands for. The government now need to put in place like a charity gold, where these charities are for make 100 million plus, leave them over there to do what they want, and make another one where it's another subcategory for charities that are underneath 100 million, maybe called something different, so we can get on to actually do some real work, because we're tarnished by this nonsense. Okay, and when I say nonsense, I mean things that piss me off, like, you know, we've got charities like Crisis, St. Mungo's. How are these homeless charities who have shops all over England, okay, but during lockdown, because they followed guidelines, they didn't open. Okay, so during lockdown, someone like Shelter, which is a charity shop, never opened. So I'll give you an example. Shelter alone had enough resource during lockdown, when it was really cold, to open their doors on a voluntary basis to allow homeless people to drop in, which was click and collect, to collect jackets, gloves, hats and scarves. But they didn't.
And that wasn't done.
Because the corporate side of things will make you shut your store. And this is what I mean. I don't want
legalities and
I don't want to be ingrained to a point where I have to listen to anyone. And that is mostly the reason why my own borough don't mess around with me. Like, I don't have any communication with my council. My council don't communicate with me, because I guess I'm a law unto myself. I don't really listen to anyone, because I'm going to be told that it can't happen, it can't be done. And I don't have time to listen to no one, because there are 171,000 people right now who I'm advocating for. So for me to hear someone in my ear tell me something can't be done, it's dead to me. Matt,
I'm like that, because I hear it all the time. Why are you even bothering? Why do you do, like, who are you going to say? You know, like, I don't care.
So you see,
it's so important.
You see this guy Matt at the bottom? Can you see him there? So Matt is like one of my first riders on my team. Like that's
big up, Matt.
He's cold. But
bless up. Oh, and I can see Gift of Manhood as well. Big up to you. Doing exceptional work in our communities. Strength of a Woman, if you're still there, big up to you, my darling. You are an inspiration. You really are.
It's been a good road, man. You know, BBC came down, they helped. ITV are coming down, they helped. So it's just about getting these initiatives to work, and, you know, bring more of a mindset change, as opposed to a look at me. I couldn't care less.
Yeah, see, I'm like that. I don't. Yeah,
I couldn't care less.
Yeah.
Like, if I get 2 likes on a post, I don't care, because my thing is, if you view something and you understand the message I'm giving you, that's what I want you to go with. I don't want you to go with something you've watched that has just been for your eyes. I want you to do something with, or it's a call to action, you know. And you know, Matt will tell you from the start, this was never the plan. The plan was a group that goes riding. We occasionally go to bike parks. We fix each other's bikes, and that was it. It then turned into, like as an example, the Christmas Eve run we did, we were feeding people off the money I'd spent. This last one we did, we had Tear, which is an electric bike company, dropped 5 bikes for us to ride for nothing. Yeah. We had Under Armour donate the clothes. We had Coca-Cola donate drinks. We had Morrison's make all the sandwiches and the Christmas stuff to give out.
I'm loving all this, just that the actual support, because it's kind of nuts. Unheard. So I'm happy.
This is unheard of. Like corporates don't help people that are non-charity because they can't get a tax write-off. But because my social media is almost like a call to action, it works. And I think that this is a formula I need to sit with, because it speaks for so many people who don't believe in a charity structure, that want
it to be a direct. People that don't believe,
you know,
because the money just they pay in, and where does it go?
Get nonsense stuff like donate to a monk, donate to a donkey or something, and I'm like, what?
Or cats to go on holiday. Have you seen that one?
No, I haven't seen that one.
I want to take my cat on vacation.
And it
people put enough money into that, you know. I'm laughing, but it's not funny, you know what I mean? It's crazy. Yeah, things that do. So it's so good that people are putting into all these great initiatives that you are doing and you're actioning. And it's not just about, you're doing. You're actually doing, you're keeping people alive out there. You're giving them some sort of quality to having a life, which they wouldn't have had, and don't have, the ones, you know, that we're not actually reaching yet.
Yeah, no, definitely.
But it's totally amazing what you're doing. And I heard on an interview that you did, I heard you mention that you suffer with anxiety.
Yeah.
Now, so do I, like mad, right? And you said, you actually said that doing what you do actually helps your anxiety and it makes you feel good.
So I would say that I've been anxiety free for about a year now. I haven't had any anxiety attacks at all.
Brilliant.
So what I learned was, working with homeless people, you then realize that your problems aren't that big.
And I think that's in perspective, doesn't it?
Yeah, and also it's working out what your triggers are and empowering yourself as an individual to stand up to those anxieties so they don't become benchmarks in a boundary of where you put yourselves. So, you know, it could be a situation where you're anxious that you will fail at doing, you know, a new job that you've come into. But it's making sure that you don't walk away from something without trying. Because if you walk away from
pushing yourself, isn't it?
Because if you walk away from yourself, you know, without trying, it literally does put you in a place where you put that boundary up, and once that boundary is not touched again for, you know, a couple months, it then becomes a fair. And we're not on earth to fear anything. We're on earth to, you know, face, you know, things that are subject to stress ourselves.
There's a book that I read that's called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway.
Wicked. That's
and since
good.
I read that book, it's just like, and especially doing things that are helping people, right? Saving lives, making people's lives better. You cannot beat that feeling inside.
Yeah, exactly.
And I heard you talk about that before. And as you were saying, I'm like, that's exactly how I feel, you know, like, and it's so worth it, pushing through the anxiety, speaking up for people who can't, you know, speak really for themselves and what they're going through.
Yeah. So I've just also one of the things that I've just got myself involved in as well is missing people.
Yeah, I wanted to
Yeah,
ask you about that.
yeah.
Tell us some
So
more.
a lot of children are going missing, and a lot of parents are coming through, asking, can you post this on your page? Can you post this on your Facebook? Because my child's going missing, I need help. Obviously, because my support network's so structured in terms of the community, a lot of people know me. I'm advocating to, when children are going missing within my borough. So what I did was I teamed up with Missing People. I'm now part of their safeguard board meeting group.
Brilliant.
So what happens now is homeless people who have gone missing that can't really go through social media because there's safeguarding issues, we get a report for what's going on with them, and we know where to look for them. But that's the ground root of what's going on. So 9 times out of 10, the problem with when children go missing is that the warning signs aren't taught of what to look for. Sometimes it could be something as simple as they're wearing designers that the parents don't know of, or a pair of Balenciagas have come through the door. You don't know they're worth £600 because they're just a pair of shoes that are just on. They just look like something you'd sometimes even buy in Primark because the replicas are so good.
Yeah.
So I've now got into a place now where I'm working with them as a charity, which are a charity, and it's now looking at ways in empowering parents and guardians to understand ways in which to look forward in terms of how to safeguard their children from going missing, to stopping them from being poached by older people in their estates, on them buying them stuff, or TikTok just had TikTok have a challenge currently where they're teaching a guideline on how to go missing without anyone knowing. Yeah.
Oh my God.
I'll send it to you. So
yeah,
what they
please.
do, so it'll be like step one. It'll be don't talk to anyone 5 hours before you've gone missing.
Oh my
Step
God.
2 will be like don't phone anyone or text anyone 2 hours before you go missing. Step 3, don't post anything on social media. So it's a guideline on how to go missing, and then how to sustain yourself from going missing in part 2. So it's absolute nonsense.
Oh my God. And the thing is, the problem, the missing kids in particular, is a huge problem, right? And, I kept, for years, I've been seeing, like specific areas, missing child, missing. And then they find them, but we hear nothing about what's gone on or how. But a lot of this is the county lines, isn't it?
So what I've decided to do, because that's a common problem with the parents that come through to me, is that it's hard for them to report. I get them to report back. I mean, there was a situation just about 2 weeks ago where a mum came through to me and asked me to share her child gone missing, and I did that. And because my social media is so to the ground, because they're actually real people, they're not like people that just follow, they were like, right, we've just seen him. And because I was able to report that back to mum was like, imagine you're letting me know that my child's alive when the police can't even do that,
Yeah.
So it's one of them situations now where I'm putting into place a monthly meeting for the parents and guardians within North London, or anyone who wants to come down. I'm going to have police officers there. I'm going to have people from Missing People there. I'm going to have people who have gone missing as children and the reasons why they've run away. So that's going to be an educational place where you can learn information on what to look for, mistakes that were made, how they could have been found earlier, reasons to why they went missing. Something could be as simple as you just don't listen to your child. Okay, because
and the thing is, lessons can be learned, can't they?
Exactly.
So it's not going to keep repeating itself.
Exactly. So
now,
it's
I was just going to say, I've taken part in a new initiative from the mayor, who I've attended. It's called Parent Champion Training, right?
Yeah.
I think it's absolutely brilliant, right? They should have been doing this years ago, but it's brilliant that it's happening now. So they're training up us parents, with like on knowledge of gangs, grooming, all of, you know, child exploitation, so we can then communicate with other parents. We can point them in the right direction for services. We can help with, you know, advice, things to look out for, you know, break it down for them, how easy it is for, you know, our children to be preyed upon. It when you see what's going on out there, it's frightening.
It really is, man. And you know, I've had a situation, I think this is one of the worst situations I've heard of, where a child was going to McDonald's, something so simple after school, and a group of boys saw him outside walking in. And as he was coming out, they commented on his trainers, and like, "Oh, your trainers are a bit, you know, busted. Let's buy you some trainers, man." And because it was peer pressure of the group of boys, the kid was like, "Okay, buy me some trainers." So they took the boy into the shopping mall, bought him a pair of trainers. That £50 trainers then became a £500 debt.
Yep.
Okay. And that child was literally going missing just to make money to pay that £500.
Paying that back. Because they get set up and stuff, don't they? Because it all starts all very nice, you know, and then all of a sudden it's all, well, you go over and do that, and then they go and do that, you know, because you owe us 50 quid, and then that person gets robbed, don't they? And the next thing, like you're saying, £500-600. Now, a few years back, I posted up a missing person, young person, and I was actually contacted by somebody who said, I think I shared it up, and I was like, please, everybody share and stuff. And they contacted me and they said, I don't share things like this because young people can die because you've shared something publicly, because they become you know, like all eyes are looking for them, which could then mess up the lines, the county lines, and the, you know, and everybody's could be in trouble. So it can endanger some young people's lives. I mean, the person who came to me with that, is very kind of involved in, you know, all things to do with young people.
So what I would say to that person, if that person came to me, let's say for instance that person was someone who worked on county lines as a project, my question would be to him is, if you have so basically baiting him out. Okay, so let's put that into perspective. A child's gone missing in a borough. The borough's got 50,000 people. It's not going to be, the odds are not going to be of bad people looking for him. The odds are going to be of good people looking for him.
That's what I always presume. This person said no.
Exactly. Yeah. So, for example, if 50,000 people are in the community and you put through your social media that a child is missing, and everyone's on the basis of a well-being of that child, because not everyone's ill-mannered, regardless if you're baiting him or not, there's still a parent or a guardian at home who is scared that no one's taking her seriously, because the Metropolitan Police don't take children going missing that seriously until media pick it up.
Yeah, and by then that's way too late. Yeah.
You know, that's the way things go. So in terms of, I know Sarah's not saying this, but in terms of baiting that individual out, it should be in that manner, because if it is a situation where he's gone missing because he doesn't want the people on the county lines to find him, then let's hammer social media with getting him found and letting eyes who want good by him to see him. And I think this is what annoys me with people who think they know it all, is that based on their decision, they can put a downgrade on how your thought process is into ever helping someone else again.
Yeah, so because it made me think, you know, like, because and I was like, and the person it came from as well, like, but this was due to the fact that they'd been doing something similar and a young person had died, and they'd been going missing and coming back and missing and going back and missing. And I think each time loads of people were sharing it.
I don't think that, you know, that is a situation where that burden should be put on that individual, and that burden should be put on someone else because of their misfortunes. I strongly believe that sometimes in life, you yourself have to face hurdles that you don't think you would have to normally.
Yeah, loads. I think I
Just,
have.
and this is the thing. If I asked you a hurdle that you had to jump 5 years ago, you most really wouldn't remember, because human nature doesn't allow you to store trauma too well.
Mm.
But we know that we learn from them. We come out on the other side of each one. So, there's people that will turn and say, I'm not feeding homeless people because, I offered him a banana and he said no.
Yeah.
Why does that mean everyone else must stop?
Yeah, I know.
It's weird, really weird, really bizarre how we operate. And, I've always said it's a weird analogy. If I have to deal with humans every day, which is very tiring.
Mm.
And it's tiring because there's so many different characters to have to deal with. If we were a species like lions or something, we all know that we roar. We all know that we need to
Yeah.
have one person that's the head of the pack, and that's it. We hunt. That's it. But having to deal with
It's a lot easier.
human beings every day, your phone rings, you're having to adjust your character, whether you have to be in a soft tone, high tone, happy mood, sad mood, based on the response that you need to give someone on the phone. It's tiring in itself. It's a job within itself. And I believe that people who are a part of the problem just need to leave us to get along with it.
Yeah, they do. And I believe that is starting to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm feeling very positive this year. I'm seeing lots of things coming together, a lot of action, and a lot of that where, people just getting on with it.
Yeah.
And not listening, and not to others who were trying, you know what I mean? And I'm very proud of, of all of us, standing up for what's right, out here, making a difference.
Yeah.
And like I said, I thank you from the bottom of my heart for what you're doing, because we needed you out here doing what you're doing, and we have to make change.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's coming. It's definitely coming. But like you say, we need to ensure that us on our platforms are just bringing awareness to people, and, just getting people to think about the homeless, and that they are human beings, aren't they?
100%, man. They are human beings, As I put up the other day, if you've got two £20 notes, one's crushed and one's in prestige condition, what's the difference between someone who lives in a home and someone who lives outside? We're both human. They're both notes. They both have value in the shop. We both have value. It's just that picture that's painted before you, that individual isn't what social media deems it to be. If you go back into tribal days and you pulled a tribal person forward and you time warp them to where we are now and you put them in central London, they wouldn't fit. It's just that narrative we're used to of what we feel is acceptable, what we feel isn't acceptable, why we deem something to be not nice or something to be nice. It's quite funny that someone will turn on and say, I don't help a homeless person because they're drunk. Well, how many parties in your adulthood have you been to where a family member or a friend has fallen asleep on your sofa and you've had to help them through their vomit?
Yeah, probably a load of times, isn't
It's
it?
just that a homeless person can't hide when they're having a hangover. So we really do need to sit down and take away this whole narrative of what we think individuals are worth and what they're not, what they are. Because I can tell you off the back of my hand, there's at least 60 to 70 people I know that graft a hell of a lot more than people I know that live in a house. There are 50 to 60 people in my phone book that I would not mind swapping for a homeless person's number, because their ethics are in place where, this is the craziest thing. When lockdown happened and people were rushing to the supermarkets and stuff to queue, it was actually homeless people that actually knew where to go to get food without having to queue. Because their support structure is completely different. They're a whole inner community within a community that's broken. And they're actually the community that is not broken. They're together. They look after each other. They look out for each other. They watch after people's possessions. They share food with each other. They
Certainly, we
hug
could
each
take
other.
lessons from them, isn't
Yeah,
it? In
they ask each
humanity.
other if they ask each other if they're okay. They share they share whatever they've got. If someone gives them food, they break bread with their fellow person that's on the street.
Yeah.
But us now, if I gave £100 to someone, they are keeping that £100. If I gave £100 to a homeless person, and that person's really homeless, and they have friends that are on the street, they are going to town. They are eating together. They are breaking bread together. And that's the thing. We think we know everything. We don't know nothing. Okay? What is going on outside is a whole different network of people that have been let down continuously. We've got situations now where people are slashing people's tents that is allowing water to come in. I read
about that. But
it's
what
mad.
the hell?
You know, we had a situation which I was scared of during lockdown where kids were going, you know, it happened in Birmingham where a kid was walking with his girlfriend and he set fire to a homeless person. He set his tent on fire.
Oh my God. As
a challenge. You know, we've just had a situation, I can't remember what borough it was, with a I think it was Eastern Railway. They took dirty mop bucket water and poured it over the homeless person to make him move.
Oh my God.
Mad. And you don't understand.
It's sickening, is it? And then with social media and stuff, since all that came in, like the things people think are funny that they want to put up, you know, like.
Yeah. But it's a mad situation, you know. That's it, Sutton. Thank you. Someone who
thanks.
But you know, we do need to start to understand that, you know, we might not think that homeless people are better off, but mentally they are the most in tune humans that we have. They understand. And you know, the thing is that they're not what's the word? Because they don't want for anything. They're just really humble people. I remember when I first started and we were first having the lockdown problems and stuff. I met a homeless. I got a call to Broxbourne, so I live in Haringey. So I got a call to Broxbourne to say that there was a guy underneath a bridge on the canal, pitch dark, and I remember driving to the canal, putting my phone light on, and going on live and saying, "Look, just in case this doesn't go too well, I'm on live to, you know, tell everyone what's going on." So I remember approaching this guy's fire pit and I said, "You know, is anyone here?" And he goes, "Yeah, I'm here." So he came out and I said, "Look, I've come to help you." He's like, "You know, what's wrong?" I said, "Oh, someone told me that you were here. I've come to help you, to give you some stuff." And he goes, what is this lockdown thing you're talking about? Why am I wearing a mask?" Because he didn't have a radio and he didn't have TV and the pubs weren't open. He didn't understand anything about lockdown rules. He didn't understand what this pandemic was. There are a lot of people right now on the street that don't actually understand we're in a pandemic because no one's stopping to talk to them.
Never thought of that, you know. The fact that they're kind of isolated. They haven't got access to any of the information.
You know, they are not like, you know, for instance, we're all panicking, getting mental health conditions from not being able to have fast food delivered to our house, or KFC can't be delivered to your house, or
ridiculous.
You can't go to or you can't go to Primark, or you know, you can't go on holiday. Homeless people were not thinking like that.
No,
they didn't have that worry and that stress. So it's one of them things where the things that we stress about, they don't stress about. So you imagine if you put them into a house situation, do you know how much they would survive based on the little that we say that we squander?
Yeah.
You know, and that's what the most craziest thing is that I remember going to Green Lanes, and what happened was when people are on social media, they let me know where they see people during the day, and then when it comes to nighttime, when I go into that borough, I'll know where to go where they've been sighted during the day. So I remember going to Green Lanes, and I remember a gentleman riding towards me, and he goes, "Are you Varral?" So I said to him, "Yes." He goes, "Someone through social media told me that you'd be here. I'm homeless." So I said, "Okay, brilliant." So I was helping this guy who was disabled on the street, and he'd seen what had happened with the guy who was riding towards me. So, he goes, should I get him some food? And this is the disabled guy I'm talking about. And I said, what do you mean get him some food? Because I'm thinking he's homeless. How are you going to get him food? So he walked across with his Zimmer frame because he'd had an accident. Someone had knocked him over.
Shit.
And his leg was swollen. Because he was an asylum seeker, he didn't go to the hospital. He was too scared.
Oh my God.
So the actual kebab shop were giving him food daily to keep him alive, obviously. He took his one meal and gave it to the guy who rid from Hackney.
Oh
that ain't happening in most households.
Yeah,
they're not giving their last meal.
Yeah.
You're going mad. They're not giving their last meal for that.
No. It just shows you, like, he's, only got that and he's giving.
Yeah. Manny Real Talks just said, goes to show if you cut off from fake media, you won't get affected by what's going on. It makes you ask question, is it really real? I hear that, and that topic isn't even just on this whole pandemic thing. I think it's one of them things where we daily have a capacity to take in as much information as we want to, and sometimes the information that we allow ourselves to obtain puts us in a state at the end of the day where we feel depressed or we feel happy. So my guidance and my understanding on the situations that have come through is that when you wake up in the morning, just allow positive energies and positive outlets to come through. Anything that makes you feel negative, let it go, because when it comes to resting at night, your brain cells are all eaten up by all the negative stuff that's going on that doesn't even make sense, where life doesn't become real anymore because there's too much nonsense going on. I think we've met on West Green Road. I think we have to. We'll hit up afterwards and have a convo. And Leslie's been following me from the start of this journey.
Big up to you, Leslie.
But yeah, it's nuts. It's a nuts situation to be in, and it really is when you start to put things into perspective. You give a homeless person even a 1-bedroom house, listen. I'm talking about prestige, living conditions, not wanting anything, not doing things to get more money from the government, not doing anything that is strenuous on the NHS. They just survive on little, and it really does annoy me where you've got people that will put themselves in positions where they say life's tough and stuff. You don't know what tough is. Everyone's got a tougher than you.
Yeah.
Your tough is someone else's holiday.
Yeah. This is the thing, like when you start seeing and speaking to others, like, and hearing people's stories as well. It makes you realise, no matter what you're going through, that there is people a lot worse off.
I mean, it does, it hurts, but the hurt is where the power comes from, and the power.
And this is the thing. That's what drives you, isn't it? To just the determination as well to make that difference.
I mean, this year is going to be a lot more. I hate to say it, but there's going to be a lot more rebellion going on from me. I'm going to be.
Me too, right?
I'm not doing it anymore. Too. Last year I did the whole good boy thing in terms of. Oh, this is a lovely one.
Yeah.
How do you differ from a genuine homeless to people just begging, acting homeless? So I'm going to read that one more time, yeah?
Okay.
How do you differ from a genuinely homeless person to a person who's acting to be homeless? So I battled with this in terms of giving a homeless person stuff and giving them money and stuff. If a family member asks you for £20 because they need gas and electric, and you put the £20 in their account, and after you come off the phone, they pop to the off license, draw the money at the cash machine, and go and buy a Jack Daniels and Coke and go home and drink it. does that take away from the good deed that you've done?
Well, they've had a good drink for the night.
Right, but me
yeah.
as an individual who's put the £20 in their account, does that take away from the good deed I've done?
Well, it would, because you've given it because
No.
thought, no.
So I've given the £20 into your account because I believe you need gas and electric. Whatever you decide to do with that £20 I give you is totally up to you, because my intention is to help you. Okay.
Yeah.
So that being said, it's my cousin's problem that if she doesn't use that £20 for the gas and electric that she gave me as an excuse, that's her problem. So in hindsight, what I'm saying is I don't ever distinguish from I don't battle with that anymore in terms of if the homeless person is genuine or not, because this is the thing. A homeless person who gets £20, it will be a blessed £20. It will last. It won't get lost. It won't cause any bad karma. It won't cause any problems for them. For someone who doesn't need that £20, that £20 is cursed. It's going to give them nothing but problems, because that blessing is not meant for them, because they're acting on something else they're not supposed to be. Okay, so the answer to I can't find her. Sarah's question is, I can't determine anymore because it's not my place to determine anymore. I just feel like if a need's put before me, doesn't matter how it's presented, it's something that just needs to be done. And I think that's another story that we put in front of ourselves is, oh, how can this homeless person be homeless if they're wearing Jordans? You don't know if someone just bought them a pair of Jordans and gave it to them. It doesn't mean that they don't need it because they're presentable. They've got a right to be presentable. If you saw them in a week when they were walking through water and stuck in the rain and stuck in mud, and those Jordans were now tarnished, we would then say, it's almost like saying you have to be dirty to get help. So it's a crazy one, and it's a good question.
Yeah, no, that was a very good question, because that I have heard a lot of people who say that, or he's not genuine, he's doing, he's got a place somewhere and he's outside there, and because there is, a fair bit of that going on, which is unfair for people who are genuinely homeless.
Yeah. No, Sarah, I wasn't putting it in context of you as an individual. What I mean is the narratives to people who are listening, when this does go live on her Instagram, would understand a better answer to your question. To make money around Central. Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of people in Central London that, beg for money and stuff, but again, to be in that place to take away your dignity and to sit on the floor in front of people and sit on the cold, be in the cold, watch people walk past you, watch people spit at you, sometimes kick you, just for some money, to make money. If you're willing to put your dignity at bay to do that, there has to be an underlying problem. It could be that you are an asylum seeker. It could be that you can't get a job because you've done criminal activities before. It could be anything. And if that's your way of making money and that's your hustle, without, selling drugs that could potentially kill someone in the long run, then your hustle's your hustle. At least you're not harming anyone to, get it. Some may say it's a scam, but I say if you've got an option between stealing and robbing people or selling drugs, I would say begging for money would be the best one, because it's down to choice of the individual that's giving it to you.
Yeah, whether they want to or not. Yeah. No, definitely. Well, it's been truly inspirational to have you on here today.
Thank you,
Varral. And amazing everything that you're doing. And like I said, I'm feeling so positive going into this year.
Brilliant.
And I can't wait, to get, going on working with you.
Yeah.
And I wanted to say we fully support everything that you're doing. We'll be fully pushing every campaign and pushing the awareness.
Yeah. No,
of
brilliant.
this subject, because it's so important that changes are made. This can't just be the norm anymore, because we're not standing for that. And it's about, you know, everyone coming together and making that difference.
Yeah, but I definitely will be coming down to your sides. We get some
wicked, because I definitely, yeah. And there's another friend of mine as well. She runs her own food. She does catering, munch breaks, and when she cooks, it's like she gives, you know, some to the homeless, and she feeds quite a lot of homeless people in her area. And I was speaking to her a couple of nights ago, and she was saying she's got, you know, all the contacts and all the information of all the homeless people that she's connected with.
Nice. Okay, cool. Yeah.
So I thought, you know, we could maybe work on something in her area as well.
Do you know what I can do? So I haven't got any with me, but I've got these packs. I don't know if you've seen them. They're called these C86 Give Back packs. So they contain 14 items of non-essential things for a homeless person to survive on the street.
Oh, wow. I saw a clip of it. Yeah. What's in them.
So it's hand sanitizers, waterproof ponchos, foil blankets. I think there's a cereal bar in there, packet of crisps, bottle of water, cotton buds, plasters, a pen, a notepad. So I can send them down to you before I even come. So you've got some packs to give out down there.
Brilliant. Yeah. That would be sick. That would be brilliant. And that makes me feel really good inside as well. Just the thought that we're gonna, be able to help more people in this area as well.
Yeah.
But bless you.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm just, really thankful for you and your, exceptional work for the homeless. But thank you so much for joining us today. Could you give out all your social media, where people can get hold of you and support and get involved?
So my Instagram is C86ers. So I'll type it now. So C86ERZ is my Instagram. And then it's Varral Paul-Walcott is my Facebook. And then my website is www.c86ERZ.
And the name, the C86ERZ, where did that come from?
So 86 was the year I was born.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Cream Media was my first ever company. So I used the C from Cream Media, added it to the 86, and then I wanted to kind of make it like a groupie name, so I put ERZ in the end. So C86.
I like that. Yeah, no, I like it.
So it's good.
Wicked. All right, and I'll make sure I put your links on anyway, so onto this post when I upload it. But bless you for joining us. Keep up the amazing work, all right?
Thank you so much.
Okay, all right, and don't worry, we'll be spreading the word, spreading awareness, supporting everything that you're doing, all right?
All right, thanks a lot. Take care.
Enough love to you, all right?
Bye.
Thank you so much for everything, all right?
Bye. See ya. Bye.
Bless up.